All right, so we are going to get started and start decorating our signatures. And I'm going to start with one, which is page 1, 2. And I will be using, of course, the Creepin' It Real from Photoplay, along with the companion pack that had the Cosmos dotted cardstock, as well as the Aquamarine Canvas My Colors cardstock. And I'm also going to use a little bit of a ivory cardstock from my stash. It's just a plain cardstock. You can use any color you want. I just used it to supplement. So we're going to start. This is our page 1. And I'm going to put a few things aside here. Now, when we made the pages, I told you I was going to probably add some flips and flaps. So for this, I made a little flap here with a pocket. And what we're going to do is take a piece of black artisan at 8 by 5 3/4. I'm going to put that, let me grab my scoreboard so I can show you where I scored. Put that at the 8 in your scoreboard. And we're going to score that at 1/2 inch and at 6 inches. Okay, so 1/2 and 6. Okay, and that's going to become a little flap that we're going to add to our pocket. We're also going to be putting some magnets. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a set. These are the small basic grays. I also have some of the new thin tonic magnets as well. You can use any size. I'm using the smaller ones. And we want to put a magnet on this side before we add paper, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and peel off my backing. And then I just want this magnet somewhere in this region. It doesn't have to be exact, but we have to remember it's going to go on the inside too. So you want to make sure that you have room to cover it with paper, but we want this to close. So I'm going to put this here, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick my other side. Oops, I did that backwards, but that's okay. What is going on here? Too many magnets. Well, that's because I have 2 of the super thins, I think. That's all right. Okay, so I don't have any sticky on that one. So I'm going to grab some score tape from over on my table here. And I am going to put some score tape on here. Well, things are just not really cooperating with me today. I don't know why. Do I have... I am thinking that I'm just going to grab another one out of this pack, because I think that's one of the thinner tonic ones, actually, and that's not what I want. I want to make sure that I'm using both basic grays, and I'm not quite sure how that got in that pack, but we will open this pack and get the right one out. So that was a minus. I'm going to grab a plus here. There we go. Now I don't have to add any sticky. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to pull all the paper that I have ready to go out of here first. And the first thing we're going to do is adhere this. I'm going to pull the paper I have in here out. I have everything cut and ready to go. So for this, what you want to do is go ahead and miter that little 1/2 inch flap that we made. Just leave your magnet on there, and we're just going to miter this so it goes on the page and moves nice and neat. And I'm going to grab a bone folder and just make sure that this is a really nice, flat, burnished edge here. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to put this up under here, like so. Okay? So add glue. We're going to pull this down. So you have your magnet here, your pocket, which is your front. We're going to put glue right along here. And then I'm going to try to get this as close to the middle as I can, which I kind of got it almost dead on there, didn't I? And pull it in. I'm going to just flip this open. It's okay if it sticks out a tiny bit. Don't worry about that. And then you have this little flap system here, okay? So go ahead and grab your magnet. And we're going to flip this all the way over. So leave this folded and drop that down so that your magnet ends up going where it needs to go to close your page. Pull that sticky off and close it. And as you can see, that's where the magnet will stay, so that when we decorate, now all this will close, okay? So let's start that decorating. We're going to start by, I'm just adding white, excuse me, it's off-white paper to the inside for like photo mats. And we will decorate this with some other colors and stickers and such. So for the left side, your mat will be 5 5/8 by 7 7/8. The right side is 5 3/8 by 7 7/8. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down. And this is a fun little album design that you can use any paper for. As always, we're just going to put this down, leaving that little bit of black showing all the way around. And if you like more black showing, you can cut these at cut these at 1/8 of an inch shorter than what I did on both sides. And that will make it so that you have a little more of that black showing. And then I'm just going to burnish all that glue out just to make sure. Make sure you're cautious around the magnet so you don't rip your paper. And I had a rag here for glue somewhere. I have so much stuff out on my desk that I'm losing things, which is normal for me. Not quite sure where my rag went. Okay. So let's go to the other side. I'm going to go ahead and pull some of this stuff out of the way. And we will glue the other side down. And using solid papers, such as the My Colors, Artisan cardstock, is great on the insides of flaps if you want to stretch your paper, and then just add bits and pieces of your decorative paper. If you are limited, as I am, on how much of the decorative collection you have, it's a good way to handle that. And make sure that you put down this before you add any paper to the inside of here. Okay? So then I've cut 2 strips at 1 inch by 7 7/8 of the Cosmos. And I'm going to put these down as tuck spots. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add glue to 3 sides. I'm being a little messy about this. I'm not quite sure. Don't have a very steady hand this morning. Okay. And make sure I'm in frame here. All right. And then we're just going to line this up with the edge of that ivory paper all the way around. And I might have cut this a teensy bit short. Well, darn it. I'm not quite sure how that happened. Although I didn't. I just had it down too far. And then we'll just do that. And then you have a nice little tuck spot. And we're going to do that on the other side as well. Another 1 inch by 7 7/8. And this time we will do our edges this way so that everything lines up. These are just meant for tuck spots so that you can slip a photo mat in there, or you can slip a photo and just have the edge of it so that you can change it out. Either way works. I'm just going to line that up and adjust it a little bit. And I will probably add some stickers or something fun from the collection in here with my final touches. And as you can see, that gives you this fun little tuck spot for a photo mat or something. So, and it also gives you that little bit of orange, pop of orange that will show beyond our papers. So let's open this up. The next thing we're going to do is put down a piece of aquamarine that is 5 3/8 by 7 7/8. This is our mat, number 1. Again, if you want to see more black and less of the green, you can make these a little bit smaller. This is going to go right down in here. I actually made this a little bit smaller because I wanted to see a little bit more of the black on this page. It could have been bigger if I wanted to show less, I should say. I'm trying to figure out where my rag went because I am getting glue everywhere. So give me one moment here. Okay, found my rag. It's always nice to have a rag handy. Helps you burnish out that glue, and it also gets rid of any excess glue. Next, I'm using this polka dot page. Now, I did not... Yes, I did. I do have a full one. So this one is the Creepin on You. So it has the ghosts on one side, and then the flip side is the polka dots, which is what I have chosen to use. Or maybe I like the ghosts. No, we're doing this one. I'm sticking to my guns here. So this piece is going to be 5 1/4 by 7 3/4. It's always hard with these cute patterns to decide which side you want to use. I mean, who doesn't love these little ghosts? They're so cute. But I will use them else in another spot somewhere in my book. I think I'm getting out of frame again here. All right, so there we are. We are just going to put this down. And again, I did cut this so I would see a little bit more of that green. I love this aquamarine My Colors. It's one of my favorite My Color cardstocks, especially with Halloween papers. It just goes so well. Burnish all that glue. All right, so that's that. Then on here, I have cut a piece of the aquamarine to, give you the measurements here, 5 3/8 by 5 5/8. And that is going to be our mat here. And now that I look at it, I think, I'm not sure. I'm thinking I might want to cut that just a little bit shorter. So let's cut this down. What did we have? We had 5 3/8 by 5 5/8. So let's take it down to 5 1/4. And we had 5 to 5 1/2. All right. And then it's going to show a little bit more of that black. I really like the black to show a little better. There we go. Let me see here. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Now, if you want less black showing, then do it the first measurement that I gave, the 5 3/8 by 5 5/8. This is 5 1/4 by 5 3/4. Okay, I'm going to put that down. All right, and that might be a little bit more black than needs to be seen, but I like it. And then this will get embellished with a sticker or something as well as this. So that is that first area, okay? Next, I've taken a piece of, I don't know, let me check and see if I have a whole one. When I cut up my papers, I probably should have written down what I was cutting, and I didn't. So, oh, this is this one. So this is going to be from Real Iconic, okay? And I cut this piece to 3 1/2 by 5 5/8. And we are just going to glue this one. I think I need to fill my glue bottle. It's getting a little lax. So pop your pocket open to make this a little easier. And then just go ahead and put your piece down. And once you have that all nice and straight and where it needs to be, then you're going to have your pocket here. We're going to add a little bit of glue to the outer, as close to that edge as you can get on both ends, top and bottom. This is going to make a little tucky pocket. Make sure everything is lining up with your black paper. Don't want any overhang. If it's not, it will correct itself with the bone folder. So I'm going to line this up. You can see that mine was a little off, and you'll see the paper will bend and figure itself out. There we go. Nice and neat. Then for the pockets, we're just going to add a strip of the orange. You can see that pop of orange there and that pop of orange there. And the strip of orange to cover the pockets is 1 7/8 by 5 5/8. Add glue to that. And this is the Cosmos that comes in the Variety Companion Pack to Creepin' It Real. We're just going to put that down on our pocket. Try to line it up with your paper that's already there. So here and here. And there's our pocket. So cute. So then you have this pocket that opens. And I might actually put some of that ivory paper here as a photo mat. Not quite sure yet. Stickers or something here. Then when you open it up, you have all this room for your photos. And that is the first page. And it's already magnetized and ready to go. Excuse me, losing my voice. Now we're going to flip to side 2. And we're going to decorate side 2. So for the B side, again, we're going to have a piece of the aquamarine. That is 5 5/8 by 7 7/8. Okay. Put that down. Just make sure when you're laying your paper that you do not go over your score lines on this side. All right. And then I've cut a piece of the plaid here, which is the flip side of, now this one I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's for the flip side of witchy. So it has the witch's hats on the other side, which is super cute. And we are just going to add our glue. Okay. Place that down. Nice. I love it when I put it down and it goes on pretty straight the first time. Doesn't always happen for sure. All right, so we got that burnished out. Then we had our belly band, our double belly band. So we're going to put these together first. You want to go in your little belly bands that we made. And we're going to burnish those really, really well because these need to attach to each other. All right, and we want to miter our corners on our belly bands. So on either side of all four sides of your score lines, we are just going to miter. Same with this one. And I will be putting photo mats in these. And I decided that I'm probably going to keep these black just for contrast, but I will probably add like a sticker or something, or one of the chipboard stickers. I haven't decided just yet. We will see. So first add glue to your 1 1/4 inch small belly band. And we want to try to get this as close to the middle as you can of this one. And that looks good. The trick is getting it close to the middle all the way down and getting it nice and snug on there. And I'm going to use my ruler and just use the lines to kind of guide me to make sure that we are in line here. And I am, so that's good. Go ahead and burnish that nicely and neatly. So you want to make sure that lays fairly flat. It's not going to lay perfectly flat. And then we're just going to add glue to the large belly bands tabs. And that is going to go as close to the middle of the page as we can get it. And it will go top to bottom, beyond your paper, your decorative paper, and your mat. And that looks good. And because I'm using this plaid, I can actually use the paper as a guide to make sure that I'm putting this on straight, which I like. I'm just going to lift this up and kind of burnish that out a little bit just to kind of make it stay with the page. It's just an optional little thing. So now you can see that I have a belly band here and a belly band here. All right, for signature 2, first of all, make sure that you are on the side, that you're upright, so that your pocket, this is our pocket page, so we want to make sure this is the top before we do any decorating. We're going to grab a piece of 6 3/4 by 4 of the black artisan cardstock. And you just want to put that in your scoreboard at that 6 3/4. Score it half. Turn, score it half, turn again, and score it half. So you're scoring it half on 3 sides. And I am going to miter my edges right at the cross section at the bottom too. And then I'm just going to do it from the top as well. So this is what you will have. And I am going to fold all of my score lines and burnish those out nicely. So we get a nice crisp pocket. What I'm going to do next is make sure this is sizing up good. And I have a mat that measures 5 5/8 by 7 7/8 for my page here. But I don't need this much. So I'm going to save paper. I'm going to show you how to save some paper. We know that our pocket is 3.5 inches tall. So what that leaves you, if you put about 1/2 inch into your pocket and go up, we can see that we really only need about 5 1/4, maybe a little more. We'll stretch it to 5 3/8, and that way you have an extra piece of paper left over, and it just saves on your paper. You don't have to cover the whole background because our pocket covers the whole entire bottom. So I'm going to cut this down to 5 3/8. Doesn't have to be perfect because you're not going to see the bottom of it. And we are going to glue that down first. I definitely need to fill my glue. And right on that top of the page, I am going to put this, making sure that I'm not going over my score line on this side. Get that glue nice and burnished. And then I chose this paper, which is, let me tell you the name of this one. It is Trick or Treat. And we are going to add glue to this. And this will go right at the top here. I might want to tell you what that measures, huh? I will do that. Just give me 1 second to get that down. So this piece I cut at 5 1/2 by 5. And then our pocket, we are just going to take our pocket that we just made, add glue to our 1/2 inch tabs. And you want to line this up first on the side with your score line. So you make sure that this score line is out of the way. You don't want to not be able to turn your page. Line it up really well with the bottom. Sometimes I just kind of tap it on my table just to make sure everything is lining up before I burnish. And then we're just going to burnish out all that glue. Okay, I don't know what my pin's doing over here. Goodness. All right. And then I'm going to grab some of my leftover. I've cut, this is the orange, which again, Cosmos? No, that's the yellow. No, this is Cosmos. Okay. 5 5/8 by 3 3/8. And this is going to be our pocket cover. Again, I'm using a lot of the solids from the companion pack just to supplement my decorative papers. So kind of line that up with the teal that aquamarine that's underneath here, and that will give you a good eyes view of where this lines up. And then I just have this little strip left over that is also 5 5/8, or excuse me, is it 5 5/8 or 5 3/8? It is 5 5/8, and it's an inch wide. It was just a piece that I had cut off of the aquamarine, and I just wanted to add something a little extra. You don't have to do this, but it looks nice. And I'm going to place this right in the middle of that orange. I'm going to use my dots to kind of line me up. It just adds another little pop of that pretty aquamarine color. We're going to flip over. Make sure you flip to side 2. This side, I made a vertical pocket that will go to the right, 3.5 inches by 9 inches. I'm going to grab our scoreboard, and we are going to put this in at 9 inches. Keep losing my bone folder here. We're going to go to 1/2 inch. You can go to 8.5, or you can flip it and do 1/2. And then we're going to do this side and go right at the 3. Again, I'm not going to notch this, but I am going to miter across those cross sections where we did our score lines. And the top doesn't really need to be mitered because it's the same length. I'm also going to fold my score lines in so that I don't see my writing. I did use pencil this time, so I could erase it, but I am just going to do it this way. And get our nicely burnished so we get a nice crisp pocket. And I just want to look at your corners. Sometimes, like this one, as you can see, I have that little notch there where I didn't quite miter enough. Just going to go right up next to the score line with my scissors and miter that a little bit better so I don't have that little pokey corner. Because I don't want that little pokey corner. It doesn't look good. All right. So, the first thing we're going to do is add our mat. And again, you don't have to put this on the whole entire page. You could cut this down, and we will do that so I can show you how to save paper. I've already cut my piece to that 5 5/8 by 7 7/8. However, we have a 3-inch pocket here. So with only having this much here, we can cut this down to 3 inches and still have plenty of it and use that paper elsewhere. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut this piece down to 3 inches and save a little of this aquamarine paper for somewhere else. You can cover the whole page if you like, but I prefer to save my paper wherever I can. So we're going to take this piece and adhere that to this side. Make sure I'm in frame there for you. So put this piece down first. Line that up nicely. And then we're going to put our pocket on. Just add glue to the tabs, and the pocket opening needs to face to the left. Make sure this goes all the way down, but does not get in the way of the folding of the book itself. And I'm a little off here. There we go. It's playing tricks on me. Doesn't want to stick. Sometimes that happens. Let's get that burnished out really, really well. Especially that edge there. Then I have, wait, that's the wrong one. Another piece of the aqua. See, this is how I was able to save with that paper. Now I have a piece that is 2 7/8 by 7 7/8 that will go on the pocket itself to continue our mat. And you could do a different color if you like to, for a little bit of color blocking. This goes on our pockets. Seems kind of wide to me. Might have cut that a little off. Not sure what happened there. That's all right. Okay, we're going to burnish that all out. And then I have this fun striped pattern. Cut it 2 3/4 by 7 3/4. And we are going to put that down. Nice little pop of color. And again, I will probably, when I do my final touches, add some stickers or something else, a strip of the orange. I'm not quite sure yet. Go around this real good with my bone folder just to make sure everything is flat. And there is our B-side. So you have a pocket here, and of course your top pocket. All right, now we're going to do a signature 3 and get it nice and decorated. So for this one, I have the 2 doors that we made, if you remember. I'm going to set those off to the side for a moment. We have our waterfall, and I have these little pieces I need to set aside so I don't lose them. Our other little door, our page, and of course the flip side. So let's start with the harder side, which is this one. Now it looks like I didn't cut a piece of paper for our underside. I'm not quite sure why I didn't do that. So let me just do that really quick. I think we're going to go ahead and make this one white. So I need to cut really quickly a 5 5/8, 5 5/8, and by, so we want 7 7/8. And again, I am just using an ivory cardstock here. Lots of options for that. I will decorate this one with some other colors as well, probably. Decorate our doors first, and then we will adhere those. So the doors that we made, remember, were our fold outs that were 9 1/4 by 8. And you have your little score lines there. Let's go ahead and do the insides first, which I am doing in, again, just a simple ivory paper. And one will be smaller than the other. These are just so you have photo mats on the inside. And again, I will probably decorate these when I do my final touches with some of the stickers or chipboard. And maybe some bits and pieces of the paper. So for the smaller edge, the fold in of our door, this flap, you have a 4 1/8 by 7 7/8, and the larger is 4 3/8 by 7 7/8. So let's just go ahead and put those down. These are just, again, a basic ivory cardstock. And this is our smaller one. We'll go on first. Make sure that when you put this on and you get it all lined up, which mine is not, that you are not going over the score line, because this needs to be able to fold. All right, get that all burnished out, and we'll do the other side. All right, so I'm gonna grab this just to make sure this is all nice and smooth. Now this should close nicely. See, I have a little wrinkle in my paper there. Okay. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to need to cut a piece for here too, because I didn't. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to put there, but we will figure that out here in a moment. So for this first door, we have some of the aquamarine at 4 3/8 by 7 7/8. And this is our mat. Get that lined up as straight as possible. And then I'm just going to run this across there. I want these to lay nice and flat. So then I have the decorative paper here. 4 1/4 by 7 3/4. All right. Make sure all of our glue is pressed down. So cute. I love this paper. Okay, set that one aside, and we will do the other side. Let's do our white on the inside first. So we have our larger piece. And I will grab that measurement for you one more time. As soon as I adhere this. All right. So again, that larger side is 4 3/8 by 7 7/8. And this one is going to be 4 1/8 by 7 7/8. And you can line this up nicely when you do the second one, whichever way order you do it in. Once you have one of these lined up nicely, you can always line it up with the other so that you get a nice crisp look. Okay, now this door goes this way, so make sure that when you fold this out, you fold it with your 1/2 inch on the right, okay? And again, we're going to have a piece of the aquamarine at 4 3/8 by 7 7/8. I love it when it lays down nice and correctly the first time. Makes it a lot easier. It does not always happen, of course. Then I have the spider webs, and I am going to, that one again is going to be 4 1/4 by 7 3/4. As our doors are going to be the same size. And we lay it down nice and neatly the first time there too. I think after you do this a lot of times, over and over, you tend to start putting it down exactly where it goes. Your eye just goes right where you need it to go. So next we are going to attach these, and then we'll put our white paper on. So let's do the right side first. This is going to attach right to here. So add glue to your 1/2 inch flap there. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do the magnet yet. So we're going to pick this up, and I am just going to line this up with my page rather than trying to do it laying down, because this way I can look all the way around and make sure that it is adhering properly to the page. And then I'm just going to grab bone folder and go in and like that. Now, if there is a tiny little bit of overhang at all, which mine does have a teensy beensy bit, you can cut it off. Mine actually isn't bad enough to really worry about, so I'm going to leave it. Okay, now we're going to put our other side on. So make sure that your flap is facing here and your paper is upright. This one will go to the left side. Do the same thing, just add glue to that tab without making a mess like Jen just did. And we're going to pick this up again. This time you want to put this right next to your 1/4 inch score line there. So the last score line is where you want this to end up. But do not go over your score line. You need that score line there. So line this up so that your score line still shows before you do any burnishing. I'm going to open it up and burnish that out. And that is, what's going on there? Oh, it's just the way I was holding it. I'm going to go down and just make sure. All right. So this one will go under, and this one will go over. And I'm not quite sure what it's catching on. I think it's because I don't have paper on there yet. So next I'm going to decorate the waterfall portion. And what I did for that was I just took some scraps and I cut 4 inch by 1/2 inch strips, 3 of the aqua, and, well, there should be 3 of the orange, but one's missing. Goodness, where did it go? Did I drop it? Oh, here it is. Nope, that's not it. Well, goodness. Somewhere on my desk here, I have another 1/2" orange piece. I might have to cut a new one. All right, so we are going to lead with orange. These will go right across the bottoms. I've done the same thing with all of these. And if we see a little black, like I said, that is okay. We don't want to go too far down. All right, so there is our waterfall. And on the door on the front, this is where the waterfall is going to go. We're going to put this right at the top, right up the very top of the paper, so that when you lift this, you have room for a picture underneath as well. So I don't think we really need a closure here, to be honest with you. This is very heavy, so I'm going to leave this as is. We're just going to add glue to that back section between the top and the score line there. And then you can set your waterfall. Might leave just a little bit of the paper showing around that. Make sure it's straight. And burnish. And I'm just going to go through and burnish a little bit in between each one of these, just to make sure that flap stays down. Give it a good burnish this way. And then we are going to make a slider, which I forgot actually. I'm going to need to add a little tiny bit of space here. Just a bit. Not a lot. It didn't go through, did it? No. Okay. So we need to take that piece that we cut that I showed you that was just the 1" by 12". I believe it's 1". Yeah. It was a scrap. We're going to make a slider here. So cut this in half. So you'll have two 1x6s. And then we're going to grab our scoreboard really quick here. And we're going to score both of these at 1/2 inch. And we will miter these as well. And then one of these will probably end up getting trimmed, or both, from that 6" mark. May not need a full 6 inches here. If I could hold on to it, I could probably cut it easier. So the first one, you want to put glue on your tab. I'm going to do a magnet closure here. So put your first 1x6 as close to the middle. Now, you could adhere this prior to putting this down, but you should have plenty of space to tuck that under there. But you can put it down before if you prefer. So as I can see, this is pretty long, but we're going to go ahead and put both of them in, and then we will determine whether we need to trim or not. I'm going to go ahead and add glue to this tab. And if you don't like this little tab showing, you can also put this one on before you decorate your door. For me, this was kind of an afterthought of how I wanted to close this. So here we are. And I'm not worried about that little bit of black paper showing down there. It's just a tiny little piece. You could put a pocket down there if you don't like it. But make sure these line up as good as you can. Okay, and as you can see, they're pretty long. We don't need them quite that long. Now we could do a slider, or we could do what I intend to do, which is just put I'm gonna pick one of these. I think I'm gonna do this Boo. He's so cute. There's that one. There's that one. There is the Which You're a Witch. Or there's the Boo. I think I'm going to do the Witch one. So I'm going to trim this down just a tiny bit because I still see white on the edge. This is one of the 3x4 cut-aparts. You can choose to do this however you prefer. I'm going to trim mine out a little bit. Then I am going to grab a scrap of black paper, black artisan, and I'm going to go to 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And let's see how that works on there. That works nicely. We are going to glue this down to the black paper. I love coming up with different ways to do closures. There's so many things you can do when it comes to closing your pages or your waterfalls. You can use ribbon, you can use magnets, you can do a slider, just lots of different fun things you can do. All right, so let's see how that fits. Yeah, I like that. All right, so the next thing you want to do is kind of figure out where on the waterfall you want this to go so that it sticks to the waterfall when we put a magnet on these. And I don't think I need the large magnet. I'm going to grab a set of small ones. So a plus and a minus of the small basic grays. And what we want to do is make sure this is tight enough. And I don't think it needs to be this long, but we'll see here. Maybe. I think we're just going to leave it the way it is and then figure out about where the middle is. Right about there. I'm going to make a little mark with a white pencil for myself on the top and the bottom here, because I want to put the magnet on the bands. So I want to put one. Goodness, if I could get the sticky off, I'm going to put one here, like so. And then that will pick that one up, which I did them backwards. Whoops. Let's do this the right way. Let's take the sticky off both. So the minus needs to go on top. All right. Just put it somewhere around the top there. Nope, that didn't work either. Okay, I see what I'm doing wrong here. Goodness gracious. Let's do this one here. So put one on there. And then this will line up with that one. Then we can put this on. So you just want to put glue where we put our little lines. Don't oh, I just did that wrong. I am so sorry. Goodness me. So we want to put glue just on the one facing you, down to that line. And you can put it on the magnet as well. This is what's going to hold this on. We don't need to put glue on the second band, just the first band with the magnet. And then line that up with the things that we made, the little lines. And nice and straight. And then we can burnish that out. And that's what's going to hold our... Now pull this out. And see, that covered our magnet on this side. I need to get this in frame for you. And we just will burnish that out over that magnet. And then we're going to add some paper to this. So I am going to just do some fun, whatever I have that I think might work. What do we have? We have a strip of the witch paper. I'm going to use this. These are 1 inches. So we need a 7/8 of an inch. So I'm going to go right to here to my 7/8. And it doesn't look right to me. There we go. And then we need to figure out how long this is. This is now 5.5. So we're going to take this down to 5 3/8. And we'll cut another one in just a second. Put some glue on there. So 7/8 by 5 3/8. This is just going to go on this band here. It's going to cover our magnet and also add some more color. And then we can add a little bit to the bottom as well. I still have a tiny little bit left over. So we'll figure out what I need here, which is about 1 7/8 of length showing. So we're just going to go to 1 7/8. Take that little piece. Scraps come in handy when you're decorating, let me tell you. They are great for decorating. And we'll just slip that little piece in there. Like so. And voila. Now you have your little magnetic closure. I wouldn't call it little, but, and then when you open these up, you have these. Now we can add paper to this page. Now what I'm going to do here is put one of the scraps I have. I'm going to use this. I think I have a piece. It's not quite large enough. Thought I had a piece of the really cool stripy paper left. We're going to do these bats because it's just the right size. So I'm going to cut this to 5 5/8. Oh no, this is the stripes I wanted. It's on the other side. Goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I can either put the bats or I could put the stripes. I kind of like the bats. So we're going to go with the bats. And then I can decorate with some of the bat stickers on the photo mat pages. put that down in line with all of my white pages. Oh, that's a little long. Maybe. Nope, that's fine. Okay. And there's that. Now we're going to go ahead and decorate these doors that I missed. And I think for these, we're going to use the actual paper. I'm going to do 4 1/8 by 7 7/8. We're going to add this plaid paper to the sides. And this one might be just a wee bit trickier unless we open it. So I'm going to go ahead and open this all the way up. And I'm going to add glue. And we'll put that one right down on that page. Nice and neat. No need to mat this because you don't need any excess bulk. That's why I chose to just do the decorative paper here. I don't want all that excess bulkiness. This is already quite a hefty page, so we don't want to go too crazy. This one I can do laying down. Again, we're going to add glue. It's exactly the same as the other. I like to burnish all that glue out. Okay, so that is that page. I'm going to flip this over. All right, so for the flip side, just make sure that you're going the right direction. We are going to add a piece of aquamarine first. That is 4 inches by 7 7/8. And that will go to the right. So you just want to put this up next to the score line. Don't go over the score line. This is just a mat. Okay. And then we're just going to put a little tuck pocket here. The tuck pocket is 3 inches by 8 inches. We're just going to add glue to 3 sides. This is going to the left. This is just a tuck spot pocket. No gusseting here. I'm going to pick up my page so that I can line this up as close as possible and not have any overhang. I don't know what is impeding me putting it down, but it's not liking me right now on this side. I don't think I have enough glue. So we'll just add a little more glue there. And again, this is meant to be a tuck pocket, not a gusseted pocket like some of the others in the album. Nice flat pocket. And again, that's our left side. Okay. And then we have a piece. We could either do plaid or we could do the witches again. We have another piece of the aquamarine first that is cut to 2 7/8 by 7 7/8, and that is going to be the mat. For our little tuck pocket here. That's a lot of glue right there. Line that up. Easy peasy stuff. And this page is a little bulky, just so you know, because our waterfall is on the other side. It makes it a little bulky. And then I have a piece of this. I'm going to go ahead and use the plaid side, I believe. Maybe not. Let's see what else we have over here. I've used a lot of that plaid. I am thinking I want to use a really cool stripey paper. 2 3/4 by 7 3/4 from this. And I am going to do it in different angle. Rather than going upright with mine, I'm going to actually do it this way. Give it a little bit more interest. And I need 7 3/4. Put my cutter away. And we will add that paper. Just add glue. So 2 3/4 by 7 3/4. And just place that down on your mat. Even. I love the stripe. I think this might be my favorite B-side of all the papers in here. This and the plaid. I like those kind of patterns. So now you have this fun little tuck spot. So that is our third signature. Fun. On to the next. This will be our final page system. Let me pull some of my scraps out of the way of the camera here. Clean up a mess. Always get these fun little cuts everywhere of corners of paper. And I don't need them all over my desk when I'm trying to show you. All right. So for this one, in the end, we did just a plain page on this one at first. And we had the double pocket system on the back side. So what I decided to do with this one is turn it into a pocket page that's sideways. So we have our second page, which is a top pocket. Our last page is going to be a side pocket. So this is a 6 1/4 by 9-inch piece of paper. Put that in at the 9 on your scoreboard and score it half. Turn, score it half. Whoops. Turn and score it half again. So you will have 3 sides that have 1/2 inch, 2 short and 1 long. And then we're just going to go through and we're going to miter all of our corners. Well, we're going to miter these corners. I don't think there's really a need to miter these ones. We'll see. Right, and then I'm going to fold all of this in because I want my writing, once again, as I always say, to be hidden. Let's get these all burnished and flat. You want to get these as flat as you can so that they lay nicely against the page. And any rippling, which I've got a little rippling going on here, so I'm going to rescore. If you get a little ripple in your paper, sometimes it just means that your score line was a little bit off, and that will happen. So I'm going to try to re-score this a little straighter and see if that helps. It should. Get rid of my little ripply spot. Close. Okay, now for this one, this is a full 8 inches, and I want to put, no, you know what, I don't think I'm gonna, I was gonna notch it, but let's not. So grab your base page that we made, that 6.5 by 10.5 that has the flip on the bottom, which is the pocket on the opposite side. And we are just going to adhere this. Now we need to make sure this is going to fit and that I didn't mess up. See, my score line is off here and I'm not quite sure what is happening. I did not get a good score or something on this that is causing it to not be a 1/2 inch. And I don't like that at all. Let's see if it's gonna fit. It fits. All right. So add glue to those 1/2 inch sides, or excuse me, flaps. And then you want to grab your page, make sure that this is on the bottom on the other side. And I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to line it up with that score line. That second score line right at the top there. So you have this fun little side pocket here that you can add stuff to. Just gonna keep burnishing until I make sure that's on there nice and good. Okay, so for the front, we are, that's the back, I think. Let me see here. No, this is the right one. So we have our aquamarine at 5 5/8 by 7 7/8. We'll put that down first. Okay. And then I have cut a piece to 5 inches by 11. And that piece is scored at 1/2 inch and at 7.5 inches. Okay, and that's going to make a fun little tuck pocket. This is going to be a little flap at the top, so we want to miter those corners on our 1/2 inch flap up here. And I probably should have put this under the paper, but we're going to put other paper on here, so it's okay. Go ahead and glue that 1/2 inch flap and try to put this as close to the middle as we can get. And then go ahead and burnish that down. then we are going to put that basic white paper. So flip it all the way over so that you're on the back side of the flap. And we're going to add a piece of the ivory that I'm using, or whatever you are using, at 4 7/8 by 6. And it looks like it's just a little over 3/4. Is that correct? Yeah. And this is just a photo mat that I will probably add, like I said before, when I do my finishing touches. I'll add my stickers, my chipboard, and such things like that throughout the album itself. So we are going to put that on like so. And it's a little off. There we go. Get that all burnished. And I'm going to do this. Sometimes the lighter weight papers, your glue doesn't quite burnish as quickly. So then you have this. Go ahead and go in and redo the top portion of that. So now we have this fun little flap with that on the top. I have a piece of the aquamarine that is 4 7/8 by 4 3/8. You can do it taller, shorter, however you want. I just want it to make sure that it goes underneath my pocket. So I'm going to add glue to that. And put that down. Nice. And then you can pull, wait, no, don't pull your pocket up just yet. I've got to figure out what I was putting here. Oh, it's stained blue. I'm sorry. Go ahead and add, flip this sideways, and just add glue to the sides of that flap to make it a little tuck pocket. And go up and burnish that. If you get glue on the paper below, make sure you get it off of there. Okay. And then I have another piece of aquamarine that is, again, 4 7/8. This one is 3 3/8. And that will be our mat for the pocket. Just line it up with the paper above so that it's the same or as close as possible. And then I have this fun little paper with the trick-or-treat and the little jack-o'-lanterns. And this one is 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. And that will go right there. And I have a fun little strip of the scraps of the polka dots. It's about 1 1/4, and it is 4 7/8. Again, scraps are wonderful when you're doing your decorating because you can put little stripes here and there, and I love that option. So this is just going to go to the top here, and I'm going to use my ruler to make sure that I am straight. That's better. And there is that. And you don't have to decorate exactly as I did. You can decorate any way you like. And as you can see, now you have this fun little tuck spot for a photo mat that'll go in here, which I will add. And then we'll do something with this as well. I'm not quite sure what that's going to be yet. We could put this paper on and have even more of that paper and then do a strip. I might just do that because I do have so much of this. Let's see what the candy corns look like under there. Like a little pocket maybe. A little striped tuck spot. Yeah, because it's a trick or treat and candy, let's do that. We're gonna go ahead. So this piece that I have is a scrap. If you wanted to go all the way down, you would need to cut a piece. I'm just gonna use this, which is 5.5 by 7. I'm just trying to decide if I like all of that. Yeah, I like that. I kind of like that better, but decorating as I go is always fun. But there is candy corn on the front too, so let's just do that. I'm just going to add glue to this. And this will also cover that black strip up here for the most part. I'm going to put that up. All right. Oof, that's a little crooked. So now I have that down. And I'm going to look and see if I have some more polka dots in a scrap here somewhere, which I do. And it just happens to be the right size. So we're going to use this. Just happens to be a strip that I have, and it is 1 1/4 by 5.5. So I'm just going to add glue to the sides and the bottom. And we're going to slip that right down there. Leave a little of that blue showing. Line it up with the candy corn paper. And now I have a fun little tuck spot there as well. Cute. Cute, cute, cute. And then when you close it, you have your stripes here and your stripes here. And there will probably be a black photo mat here, so that'll give you some more contrast as well. All right, so flip this over and we will do this side. And I need to line it all up the way I had it so I can remember myself what I was doing. We have our pocket, our polka dots or ghosties. I wasn't sure. I think I was doing polka dots. So polka dots. We have orange on this pocket with the witch paper. And then blue with the plaid. Okay. That's what I was doing, I think. Or maybe the witches. Yes. Okay. So for this one, you have your little piece that we made, but we're going to set that aside. We're going to do the aquamarine first, which is this piece. This is going to go on the top here. 5 5/8, and I did mine at 4 1/8. Doesn't necessarily need to be that long. Again, I cut from scraps, so I don't always cut completely off the length. I just need it to hide under the pocket, so I'm going to put that right up there. Make sure you do not go over your score line over here, and that you leave enough room. Okay, so that is that one. And then we have polka dots that will go on this top portion. And I've cut this at 5.5 by 3.25. And that goes down there. And then the next thing we want to do is grab our pocket that we made that has the score line at the bottom. And that is just an extra pocket. That's our double pocket. So we want to put this right in at the score line. So what we're going to do with the second pocket is we're going to glue down the side like so, just down that side, and we'll put that in so it lines up with that one. There we go. Yeah, I don't know how my brain gets off track sometimes, but it does. I'm human. The little flap is just there. You don't have to score it. For me, it was just a guide. So, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. So next we're going to add our orange, our Cosmos paper. This is 5 5/8, and it is 2.5. Add some glue to that. This will be the mat for this pocket, the second pocket. Line that up. Next, we're going to add glue to these the bottom pocket flap, just to the sides. Flip that up. And get that nice and burnished and all the excess glue out of there. And again, we have our aquamarine that is 5 5/8. This one is 2 3/8. Line that up with the orange mat at the top of it. Oh, crooked, 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 crooked. And then I have the plaid for the bottom, which I love. And the plaid piece I have is going to measure 5.5 by 2.25. Last piece for the pages, y'all. Woohoo. Lay that down, line it up with those witch hats. And there we go. So now you have pocket number 1 that will go all the way in, pocket number 2, and of course our other side. That is the 4th page. So next we will decorate the cover and put the pages in. All right, so now we're going to decorate the inside cover of our album, and I have cut 2 pieces of black artisan for pockets. We're going to do an angled pocket in the front and a regular pocket in the back. So the first one is 6 3/4 by 8 3/4, and the second piece is 7 1/4 by 4. Okay, so let's do the harder one first. I'm gonna grab my scoreboard. So for this one, what you want to do is put it in at the 6 1/4, and we're going to score it half. Turn it around to the 8 3/4 and score it a half. Okay. Then we just want to cut that little square where our score lines cross out, and then miter those as well. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and miter this top one. Then what I did was I put this back on my scoreboard, leaving the score line there and everything, and I made a little tick mark at 1 1/2 on the top. I flipped it over this way and made another little tick mark at 1 1/2, and I am out of frame here. I apologize. So 1 1/2, and on this side 1 1/2, and then I just took my ruler and a pencil, and I went corner to corner. So kind of nudge your ruler into that 1 1/2 spot until you get straight across to your other little spot, and draw a line with your pencil. It's the easiest way I have found to make a angled pocket fit nicely. Then I am just simply going to grab my cutter, and I am going to get that lined up so that my pencil line is aligned with my blade. And we are going to cut. And that's going to give you this nice little angled pocket, okay? For the back pocket, again, this is 7 1/4 by 4. We are going to score this at 1/2 inch. And flip it around once so that your 4 is at the top. Score all the way down at 1/2 inch. Flip again and score at 1/2 inch. And again, we are going to miter. This time I'm not going to cut the corners out. I am simply just going to cut right across that little X. And you can do it either way. And then I'm going to miter my top as well, and this is what you will end up with. So go ahead and fold and burnish all of your score lines to make this pocket, and I am going to notch this pocket out with my envelope punch board. You can use a circle punch. If you have an actual notch punch, you can use that. Anything that works for you. For me, I always use my envelope punch board. It's just easier because it has you know, the guide here. So what we end up with here is a just under 6 1/4 inch pocket. So you're going to want this to line up at about 3 1/8 and punch, and that'll give you a punch right in the middle. Okay. Next, I have cut from the variety pack of papers. I did the, oh my goodness, I have forgotten this color again. Well, let me get that color for you. So this is the daffodil, and it has the dots. And I wanted to incorporate it somewhere because it does come in the pack. I didn't want to use a lot of yellow in here, but I do like it for my inside covers. So these are cut at 6 by 8. This one's actually, oh, excuse me, 6 by 8 and 1/8. You can do 6 and 1/8 if you want, but I chose to see a little bit more of the black on the sides. You also don't have to cut this as big. You could cut just a piece to fit above the pocket and cut a piece that just fits, that shows under the angled, but for me, I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole coverage. So I'm going to lay this down. And once that is all down, then we can take our angled pocket that we made. Whoops, I forgot to miter this bottom one here. We want to make sure all of these are mitered. And then we want to make sure we get a nice, clean fold and burnish. I can see mine, when I mitered it, left a funky little spot here. I'm not quite sure why. That's all right, though. Okay. So, next we're going to just add glue to those 1/2 inch flaps. Yeah, maybe a little more glue. I don't want to have not enough. And then just line this up with your yellow paper, or you can go all the way over to the black, whichever you prefer. For me, I'm going to go all the way to the black. Yes, this is cut to fit all the way to the black. And once it's all lined up, just want to make sure, yeah, we're not sticking very well here. Not sure why. I just don't want any overlap. It looks like I have a little bit, and make sure that my cover closes on this. Sometimes you might have to trim a little bit off this edge, which I'm going to do because it doesn't seem to want to move as neatly. I'm just going to clip a little tiny sliver off of there, and my glue is not sticking today. All right. And you can make this a little smaller if you don't want the whole thing, like I have it. I'm just really burnishing that glue down because I don't want any splitting. And I'm not getting a real good adherence here. I'm going to run my bone folder. There we go. You can also do that. Take the back of your bone folder and just run it down like we do when we make our covers. And now you have a nice size pocket here that we will decorate. Now go ahead and put the other yellow paper down. Again, this is 6 by 8 1/8. And you could do this one shorter because we are putting a pocket at the bottom. I just chose to cover the whole page, but you can do it however you like it. Get that in frame and put that down. All right. And then we will add our pocket to the back. Now, this one you really want to make sure is going to work. If it hangs out a little bit on this side, it's okay, as long as it doesn't get in the way of your book opening and closing. So before you adhere it, I'll show you what I mean. Once we get our glue on our flaps, I want to make sure that when I put it down, I start with the side next to my score line. And then I want to open my book and just make sure that that's not going to cause any issues with the opening and closing of the book. Go ahead and burnish all that out. See, then we just have that little pop of the yellow. And again, I'm just going to take my bone folder and get that straightened out as nicely as possible so it's in line with my book. That just helps because we did this when we made the cover. This is nice and flat, so we want to make that the same way. Okay. All right, so now we're going to finish up and we are going to decorate our inside and outside of the cover. So I already put the yellow in there, and I've cut a couple pieces here. Now I used, when I made the, when we made this angled pocket, the piece that was cut off is a perfect fit for a piece of paper to go up in here. So that's what I used. I just traced that out and cut it out of this fun candy corn paper, which I just realized I have a little bit of white pencil on. I'm going to just erase that off camera here. I might not be right in the frame, but I'm just erasing some white paper. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add glue to this. And my pockets, I'm probably just going to add some strips of paper. You could cover those completely with paper if you like. For me, I like them black, and I will probably just put stickers or something of that nature on them. So we're just going to fit our little candy corn piece right up in there. Slip my hand down in here a little bit. And you could make your angle pocket smaller. If you do, you will need to make this larger. So then on the back side, I cut a piece of the jack-o'-lantern paper. Jack-o'-lantern, I can't talk. Or maybe we'll just do the candy corn again. Yeah, let's do that. So we are at 5 7/8, and I cut mine to 5 1/4 so that it'll fit right down inside that pocket. So now I have my inside. And like I said, I'm probably just going to add, I don't know what yet. I might go ahead and just put polka dots on these. I do have a whole sheet of the polka dotted paper left, and that might be cute to do on the pockets. But I'm not sold on that just yet. So let's flip this over. So we have our cover, our spine, and our back, okay? And I have cut pieces out for that. Let me grab those. You probably saw these in my sneak peek. My spine, my back, and my cover. So the first piece is going to be the aquamarine. It's going to measure 6 by 8. Okay, and that will be our first matte piece that will go down. So we will do that one first, and this leaves a lot of the black showing, which is what I was going for. If you don't want this much black showing, you can cut this larger. I like my covers to have a little bit more of their base color showing sometimes, and it works out well on this one. Now I also have the ribbon closure that will go on this. I don't think I have quite enough glue right here. I'm going to add just a little touch of glue in this corner so that lays down a little better. I'm not going to do the ribbon yet because it's actually going to go on top of our papers on the front here. Then I have the Cosmos. This measures 5 3/4 by 7 3/4. That is our second mat. And again, we're going to see a little bit more of the aquamarine underneath. I cut these at a 1/4 inch rather than an 1/8 difference for each one so that I had more color. I'm just going to go around the edges and just make sure that glue is down nice and neatly. And then we will have our little bats, which I haven't cut that yet, I guess. Was it bats? Yes. So the bats needs to be cut down. We did 5 3/4, so we're going to go with 5 1/2. Go ahead and cut this. I think I just kind of laid it out and I didn't cut them. So we're going to go with 5 1/2 here. And the length of mine, I can tell you what it is, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to get covered a little. It's 4 inches. So 5 1/2 by 4. And we're going to lay that down as our top. Again, we have quite a bit of that Cosmos paper showing, which is what I wanted. Excuse my cat crying in the background if you can hear her. She's playing with a toy. And when she does that, she makes a lot of noise. And then we're going to cut our plaid also to 5 1/2 for our width. And then let's see how far over that goes. It's a little, but not too much. It'll overlap, or you can cut it if you want it perfect. It's also 4. Don't need that much. That's just what I ended up with. All right, we're going to put that plaid right down, making sure we leave just as much space of our Cosmos showing as we have on the top. Oh, get a little off there. There we go. Nope. It's a little off. Okay, there we go. All right, now here is where I am going to start my ribbon, because I want this as kind of an accent. So I need to figure out how long I want it. It needs to go over all the way over to our paper here. So I'm going to cut this. Is I want to be able to lay it down across here. Is that going to give me enough to tie? Yeah, it should. And put it on the middle. So what I want to do is grab some 1/2 inch score tape first. I like to use score tape at least partially in this because it helps that ribbon stick down while you're gluing. So I am going to peel this down, backing off. And then let's set this on here again and see if we want it. We're going to just put it to the edge of, should we do it all the way over? Yeah, I think so. Okay. So I'm going to add glue, because I do want my ribbon to stick nicely. And I'm going to put this all the way up against that flat edge over there of the aquamarine paper. And make sure it goes all the way across there. And then I just want to give that a little bit of dry time, so to speak. I want to make sure that it stays down, if that makes sense. So we're going to move on to our spine, and I have cut a piece of the Cosmos, 2 3/8, 8 1/8. And this is our first mat for the spine. I'm going to line that up with the aquamarine paper here on the bottom so I know where I'm going with this. And it's a little longer for some reason, which I don't quite understand how that happened, but cutters. It's all right. It's close. So get that nice and burnished out. Then we're going to go with a piece of aquamarine. So we're doing the reverse this time. 2 1/8, 7 7/8. And I'm going to try to line that up as good as I can with the rest of the paper on the page. Give that a really good burnish. And then I have the stripes, the diagonal stripes, 1 7/8 by 7 3/4. It goes this way. Of course, with these stripes or plaids, you can pretty much turn them any way you want. There's really no direction that you have to use, but I'm going to turn it this way. Try to line that up as best as you can. A little off here. Okay. So there's our spine. I'm hoping that this stays down nicely. If it doesn't, I'll probably have to put something else there, but hopefully that's not the case. All right. So the back is basically the same. We have our aquamarine piece that is at 6 by 8. Is it 8 or 8 1/8? Oh, excuse me. I think it's, what was this one? 8 1/8. I'm sorry. It's 6 1/8. No, it is 6 by 8. I am just not seeing very well today. So 6 by 8. Just like the cover. And we will put that one down. Again, like I said, there's a lot of the black showing. That's how I like mine. Just like the cover. And the difference here is our back piece will not have the double. Now, you could just leave it at this, or you could leave it at the orange, put some stickers on. I am not doing that. So we have another of the Cosmos at 5 3/4 by 7 3/4. I'm going to line that one up nicely. I just love Halloween projects. I love the colors. Super cute. Okay. And then we can either put ghosts or we can just do polka dots. Either way, we're going to have the other half of our ribbon across the middle. So whichever one you like best. The polka dots. We're at 5 1/2 by 7 1/2 for the bats. You could do the ghosts too. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to do the ghosts. I actually really like that, and I want something more on the back, so we're going to go with the ghost side. And put that down. And once that's on there, so fun, all these different patterns. I like it. Then we have our other side of our ribbon to adhere, and I'm going to cut this a little straighter. Put this off to the edge. I want to line it up with the other one, so I'll let you know what length I used here in just a moment. Gonna cut this right about here, and then if I have too much, I can cut it off. Okay. So I'm going to grab some score tape again, just like I did with the first. And I want to line this up. So I'm going to grab my ribbon and put it on this side so I can see where I'm at. And then just set that piece of score tape down. A lot of people probably wouldn't do it this way. They would prefer to put their ribbon under paper. And I may end up adding something if this doesn't feel like it's going to stay. But we will see. Oh, let's add some glue here. And then just make sure that we are in line with the other one, which we are. Right to the edge of that turquoise paper. And try to get this as straight as is possible. And there we have that. And this is not adhering as nicely as I would like it. So let's add a little more glue. Really try to get that ribbon to stick. And then I'm going to close this and make sure that I gave myself enough room to tie it, which I did. And you know, I could have wanted it all the way across. It might have looked better. But too late now. I'm going to add some stuff to the front. I'm probably going to do another pop of that orange, another pop of the turquoise, and then I will probably add something fun. What do we have here? We have this moons out, brooms out. No, I don't care for that. We have creepy that can go on the bottom. And then we can put our little October 31st on the front. Have these fun little buttons galore and more buttons that I'm going to use. And I think I'm going to put this little spooky tag on here as well, or maybe we'll put that here. Yeah, we're going to put that on here. I like that. So I also have here somewhere I have a spider. I have a couple different of the buttons that I'll put on the front. You can arrange your cover any way that you like when it comes to the actual decorating. So now I know I'm going to put this here, but I think I'm going to add black paper to the back of it. So do I have a piece long enough? I do. I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to adhere this to a piece of black artisan just to make it a little more interesting. I have a scrap of artisan over here. Give enough of a space. And then I'm just going to put this in my cutter, my small cutter. And I'm going to cut, leaving that little bit of That could have cut a little straighter. Sometimes this cutter, I tell you, cutters in general, they don't always do what we want them to. Okay, so now I have my little spooky tag, and I'm going to put it, yeah, I like it better with the black. I'm going to put it right on my spine, because it's super duper cute. You could even pop it up with some chipboard if I wanted to, but I am just going to put it right in the middle of my spine, like so. Double check my spacing is not good. I need to move it over just a bit. Cute. And then I will finish decorating my cover. All right, so now we're going to add our pages into the book that we made. And then I will finish decorating those with stickers and such. Let me just pull these all apart. All of our pages. Page number 1 is this signature here that has our fun little flip with the pockets. And then on the back, we have our double belly band, okay? That is going to be page 1. What you want to do is grab this, leave your 1/4 inch open. I am going to use score tape as well as glue, and I'm going to use 1/4 inch score tape. So what I'm going to do is run a piece of 1/4 inch score tape right down the middle of my 1/2 inch gusset there. And I'll pick this up in just a second to make sure that you see where I put that tape. So right in the middle of that gusset right there, we're going to add that. And I'm going to burnish that tape down really good. Peel it back. And I'm going to add glue to that as well, just for added strength. Okay, now, when you put this in, now I've made little tick marks for myself every 1/2 inch. And this will be a little bit shorter, so you'll have 1/8 of an inch at the top, 1/8 of an inch at the bottom. You want to get this as close as you can to the fold of the book, but do not go over. And line it up as straight as you can before doing any burnishing. So there is our first page in the book. Just make sure everything looks good. Give it a good burnish. So all that glue gets nice and flat, and there is page 1. And as you can see, we have that little extra 1/4 inch, so our pages will lay nice and flat. Our second page is going to be this one with our pocket in the front, pocket in the back, pocket at the top. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to run score tape, 1/4 inch, down the middle. Now I just noticed I have some writing on here I need to erase. I must have put my hinge on backwards. Thank goodness it is pencil, so I can just erase all that. I'm not sure how I missed that the first time. So I'm going to run my 1/4 inch tape again right down the center. And burnish that out nicely. And then we're going to peel it off and add glue. The glue will add an element of sturdiness, but the stick of the score tape makes it stick quicker. So now you should be able to just line this one up with this one, top and bottom, side to side, as close as you can get them. And clean off that glue. Make sure you get a good burnish. And there is our page 2. Coming right together here. And I will go in usually at my 1/4 inch too and just kind of push it down just to make sure that we're getting a nice flat surface there. Okay? So the next page, page 3, is going to be our hefty one. This is the one with the witch on the front and the heftiness with the pocket in the back. Okay, this one needs a little burnishing done to my score lines. Realize that I did these almost exactly the same, but that's okay. I probably wouldn't have done that if I would have paid more attention. I would have put another paper on this one, but it's okay. They're both flip sides. So again, I'm just going to add that 1/4 inch score tape down the middle and burnish it. As you can see, same thing I did on the first one. Peel that off and add some glue. And we are going to slide that one in. Line it up with the last one, top and bottom, and as snug as you can get it. I like to make sure my pages are lining up as I go. Whoops, I slid that one a little bit, but that's okay. It needed to be slid, it looks like. Not sure what's going on here. All right. So there is that page. Make sure everything is nice and straight. One more page to go. And that will be our page with the little flip up. And I have not burnished my score lines here yet, so I'm going to do that. And go ahead and add my tape. Right down the middle again of that 1/2 inch gusset. Peel it off. Add our glue. I did not want glue all the way down in there. Messy Marvin today. Okay. And this is our last one. And it's going to go right up against that one. Once you have it in there, now we just burnish it out. Get rid of our excess glue. I'm going to flip it this way and just make sure there's no glue. And as you can see, there is our book. So you have your first page with your little flip here and your little flip this way. And our second page, which has a top pocket, pocket here, and our fun little waterfall, our flip outdoors with our photo mats, and our pocket this way. So this one goes on this side and this one's on this side, so that's okay. We have a double pocket, or excuse me, a pocket here, flip it up, little pocket on the bottom, here and here, and then I will decide what I'm going to do as far as decorating the ends of those pockets. This will tie closed, like so. Making sure that I left enough ribbon here. I did, just enough, like that. And that is my album. I will have done a walkthrough to show you all the extra decorating that I did. at the end, or excuse me, before this video, and we will be done. I hope that you've enjoyed my fun little Creepin' It Real Halloween album, and I hope you make one and share it with us on Scrapbookers. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.